Hello, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show on Echoplex Media. We talk about science and tech news and any other kind of science tech related stuff we feel like talking about. I'm historian Matt. I've been talking about like security stuff recently, like tech security. And today's going to be not much different. I have a little small thing on my first story, which is Google adds spam folder to Drive. If you've been using Drive for a while, you probably know why this is a big deal. And my second one is related to general, I don't know, green technology, I guess you could say. Usually talk about new energy technology. But anyways, this second topic is we just found out that recycling plastic creates a whole bunch of microplastics in the process, and that's not a good thing. But those are my two stories. So HK is out on an adventure like he does often. So Dave, tell us what you got.
This week, I also have two stories. I have one where there are 3 digital marketing firms forced to pay over $600,000 to make an Astroturfing case go away. And then the U.S. Virgin Islands has subpoenaed Elon Musk in a case related to J.P. Morgan Chase and one Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. So that'll be interesting. It's a little bit of a crossover from our usual content into the into the how the tech are you. But take it away, Matt.
All right. All right. So my first topic, it's a real quick thing of Google adds spam folder to Drive. So they're adding basically the spam folder to the, I think it's going to be in or next to the shared with me folder. It's really the shared with me folder that's the issue. But the goal is to, end this sharing spam, Drive sharing spam. And if you've been using Google Drive for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's when these, so basically right now, anyone can share a file with you if they have your email address. And it's the only security sort of, I think there's a little more security that's hidden, but the only security is basically obscurity. Like if they don't know your email address, they can't send you these files. Unlike, your spam folder in your actual email account, where if you get spam, it gets, filtered away to something else. In Drive, there's currently no filter for that. So so it assumes basically that your email is only known by people you want it to know. But of course, most people's email addresses are leaked on the internet and is all over the place. In fact, I just got an email, or I got a notification. I don't remember if it was an email or not, from one of my security programs that, does all this tracking. They track the dark net, right? The dark web. And it just periodically, it just tells me, oh, your email's on the dark web. And I'm like, duh. And of course it can't do anything because once it's there, it's always there. But it's obviously my email's out there. I was having big problems with this before. But finally, Google is going to add the ability to basically, if you do get these files that are basically spam, that are often like crypto scams or, who knows what other porn sites or something like that, you'll be able to filter them and put them into a spam folder and hopefully keep other people from getting it at least. Currently, Google will allow you to block specific people, which works great if you have like somebody stalking you or something. But that doesn't really help with spam, which comes from people you don't know. It just shows up. And finally, in the future, although it's not solid yet, I don't know if Google has committed to it yet, but among other enhancements coming to Google Drive, we think is going to be a whitelist for sharing files. So you only get files from people that you allow to send you files. So what do you think, Dave? Do you think this is, a good thing, bad thing, will actually help? Have you had problems with this?
I never look at the shared with me folder. The way I manage Google Drive and Google Docs is via my email.
Through what?
Email.
Email. Okay.
So if somebody sends me something, I get an email and in my Gmail from Google Drive, and you're not supposed to click links in your email, but if it's from Google Drive, I just click the link and then it takes me to the file in Google Drive. And so I have no idea what's in my shared with me folders on my Google Drive, if we're going to be completely honest, because if I'm maybe I'll go there once in a while because I'm like, the thing I'm looking for, I forget the name of it, and I know it came from someone else. Maybe I'll go in there. But then when I go in there, I recognize all the files. I don't think I've seen any of this Google Drive spam, which is crazy because my email addresses, especially for this organization, are just all over the place.
Yeah, I haven't seen it recently because I think what they're doing is on Google's side, and I don't know for certain. I'm not like, I don't work at Google anymore. I don't actually know anybody in Drive. I'm not in contact with anybody who works on Drive. But anyways, I think what they're doing is they're trying to detect those files and filtering them out before they get sent around, which it seems to occasionally break because in the past, I've had issues where all of a sudden I get just a ton of these spam files, like people sharing these things with me all the time. And they're usually really obvious. They're from people I don't know. They have names or titles that make it obvious that it's some kind of scam or something. So I just try to delete them or not open them. But it can get to a point where Google Drive is not useful. Like it's unusable because of all these files. So I'm glad they're taking more steps to take care of it.
Yeah, like there's no way in which I would see a new file in my Google Drive and be like, oh, I should check that out. I like literally, I'm like, hey, could you send that to me? Right? It's how, like, that's how I use Google Drive. It's on like a person to person basis. I don't just be like, oh, what's been shared with me on Google Drive? Like I'm checking my Facebook or whatever. I wonder if there's weirdos out there that do that.
Well, the other issue I have is I have this producer I work with who shares files with me from a long time ago. So I have to go back to my old the shared with me files to find them sometimes.
Yeah, there are files.
That's generally when I see it.
Yeah, we do. We do sometimes work back. We do sometimes work back through old stuff around here. Yeah. Yeah, I've never encountered this, I don't think. Or if I did, I don't remember it.
I'm surprised because I was getting it a lot. Like, I mean, recently I haven't been getting it. They've been doing a much better job of it. But in the past, and it wasn't even like if I went to shared with me, I would get emails, notifying me of these files being shared, as I remember. So so the emails weren't getting filtered either. It was obviously spam. Usually it was something like such and such has shared a file with you, and it doesn't tell you anything until you click over to it, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Were you seeing this on like a G Suite account or just a free account?
Free account.
I wonder if there's like security on G Suite accounts where like it doesn't even share it with you. Yeah. We're like, because the only way, like if let's say you share a file with our main account, that's a G Suite account. I can't even see the file in my shared with you until I click the email link.
Yeah. So,
and I don't know, maybe I set that up at some point. I don't know. I've had these accounts for so long. I haven't gone into this. I have no idea how the settings are, what's even in the settings. Like I like don't. Yeah, I use it all the time, but I have no idea what's going on with my Google Drive. I just know that it's not. I just know that none of them are full, and that's great.
Yeah.
If there's a spam folder, I don't know. I think it would just encourage someone like me to go poking around in the spam folder to see what's there, to be perfectly honest. Like, I'm just that, I'm like, oh, spam folder? Let's see what's in there. It's like, well, no, that's what's there. It's there so you're not supposed to go into it.
Yeah. I actually do that. Well, you have to do that in Gmail periodically to go through the spam folder in Gmail, just because sometimes things end up there that is not supposed to be there. And you have to go in and tell it, but you have to resist the urge to click on the obvious spam just to see what stupidity they're selling. Because you really don't want to click on any of the files anyways, right? Because who knows what's actually in them if they have a 0-day or something exploit. This is just like anything else. It's like if you're not expecting a file from someone, then you're not expecting a file from someone. Yeah.
That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
If you think your mom sent you a file, I don't know, maybe text your mom. Maybe you should text your mom anyway. It was Mother's Day yesterday as we record this. Like, Mom, did you send me a file? Mom goes, nope. And you go, oh, well, that's not Mom. Like,
yep.
Yeah. I think it's just, I think maybe I've never experienced it just because the way I use a Drive is that,
yeah,
like I recognize the email addresses that are showing up in my Gmail, and that's it. I know they're directly from. Yeah, I just don't manage it in any other way. That's the only way I've ever used, or Google Docs for that matter. If I get a new Google Doc, I don't know about it. It doesn't even show up in my Google Docs until I click through the email on it. Maybe my stuff's broken, or maybe I have the ultimate security setup. Who knows?
I don't know. I just know it was a big problem for me in the past. It's better now. I think I do occasionally still get them, but it's much better than it was. It was almost unusable. So I'm glad that they're doing something. Shall I move on to my next topic here?
Absolutely.
All right. So another one, a short one. I've been talking about some green energy and stuff in the past. So this is a little bit different. This is about recycling plastics. And basically, there's a study out at a particular plastic recycler where they tracked some of the wastewater coming out of this recycling plant and found that there's a bunch of microplastics. But before I get into that, basically, recycling plastic is worldwide just bad right now. Worldwide, we only recycle about 9% of plastics, and in the US only about 5% are actually recycled, even though we have all these recycling trucks and you have to put your bin out and stuff like that. I did that earlier today. But anyways, the rest of those plastics are either just put in the landfill or burned, which is not good for the environment, or something else happens. I don't know, but basically they're nothing, they don't get recycled, or they don't attempt to recycle it. But what is happening is during the recycling process, these microplastics are being generated from the plastics that are supposed to be recycled. And what is microplastic? They're basically plastic particles that are less than 5 millimeters in size. So they're very small. But these, the ones they're talking about, are way smaller than that. Even they're the ones that were tested in these samples that they're taking from this one recycler. About 90% of the samples, that they found, the microplastics were less than 10 microns, and actually 5% or 85% were less than 5 microns. So very, very small, tiny bits of plastic, that you can't even see with your naked eye. But so yeah, they tested this one facility where they were recycling the plastics. They were sorting the plastics, shredding the plastics, and melting them back into pellets so they can be reused. And they tested the discharge coming from them. And each discharge, they said, that could have up to 75 billion particles per cubic meter of wastewater, which is just completely insane. But, even though it's just like wastewater and has all these particles in it, you actually can't see them at all. Microplastics have been found pretty much in all areas of our environment, including our own bodies. So we're very concerned about these things getting around and where they're coming from. But as far as I know, there have not been any clear link between microplastics and any effect on our health or ourselves in general. So what do you think? Microplastics bad?
I mean, they're probably bad, and it stands to reason. Part of the recycling process is to kind of shred the plastic, right?
Yeah.
So you would think that you would get particles of very. Oh, go ahead.
So sorry. They said a lot of it was coming from the washing process. They have to wash and clean the plastic. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the shredding process may be creating a lot, but it's the washing that's causing it to go into the wastewater and then out into the environment.
Not great.
Yeah. No.
I don't know that much about this. If there's no evidence so far that that it's causes any disease, I guess that's good. But it's only good insofar as that there's no evidence that they cause. That doesn't mean exactly that they don't cause or exacerbate any diseases or conditions. It just means we don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. We've only recently found out that there's about microplastics in general and finding them everywhere. Pretty much every human in the world has microplastics in them now, just because they're all over the place and everything. Just about all animals have them, and they're everywhere. And we just don't know if they're causing a problem, or what they're going to do, or if some of these problems that we're seeing recently, like the rise in cancer rates and stuff like that, are related.
probably, it's probably going to take a while to get anything definitive, because that's just the nature of science. It's going to takes a while. And then, of course, as soon as the stuff starts rolling in saying that, where it starts to indicate that maybe this stuff is bad, well, here comes the industry being like, I don't know. Here's our scientists saying, we don't know, not sure.
Yep.
So, just like what happened with smoking,
exactly,
is likely to be the trajectory here. If in fact these are harmful, it would be fantastic if it's like weird but not harmful. But I'm not hopeful that that's the case. But that would be fantastic.
Right.
But the dose makes the poison too. So maybe we're just not at the level yet that it's killing all the birds.
I'd rather not get to the level.
All those stories with the birds falling out of the sky. What if that was microplastics?
I hope not.
Or that famous whale clip that we ran. Maybe that whale died of microplastic. But
maybe. Although usually if it's a whale, it's not micro, it's macroplastics that kill them. Which is sad.
Or a ship runs over it, essentially.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll keep an eye on that, or maybe the microplastics will kill us before we can get anything definitive on them.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's not the robots we need to worry about, but the microplastics.
Yeah, maybe we could build robots that actually live on microplastics and solve the problem.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe the aliens will come down and be like, they'll be like, we just sucked all the microplastics out of your ocean. Bye. All right. Well, I guess my stories. I got two stories here. The first one's really interesting. I imagine people listening to this show would probably remember in 2017 there was this big push by the former president's administration and the Ajit Pai, basically, to repeal net neutrality, repeal what little net neutrality laws actually the United States had. Well, it turns out that almost all the comments for that, both pro and against, were fake. So there are 3 digital marketing firms that are going to pay a combined a little over $600,000 to make this case go away. It's these marketing firms: LCX, Lead ID, and Efficient, spelled in a weird way. 3 companies I've ever heard of. Each fabricated public comments regarding the 2017 repeal of net neutrality. Approximately 20 million fake comments, both for and against net neutrality, were put out, and it seems like a single 19-year-old was responsible for over 7 million of those fake comments.
Oh, really?
And this is they settled with the FCC to make it go away, but I feel like we're going to probably learn more about this in the coming weeks. Maybe not us specifically, but I feel like more information is going to come out about this. I'd kind of forgotten about this. Had you kind of forgotten about this too, Matt?
I have forgotten about it. I'm kind of surprised that more problems haven't come up since they repealed net neutrality, but most things work okay. But so my big question is, so you mentioned there were multiple firms that were doing it. Were they like fighting each other? Was it like one side hired by one group and the other hired by a different one, and they were both kind of fighting in the comments?
That, I think, might have been the case, but also, you know how this stuff works, right? If these marketing firms could have been very well been playing both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're just hired to make fake comments, right? They don't care. They're not like, oh, well, we were already hired to make a bunch of fake comments for party A. If you're, it's not like these are like really honorable marketing firms or very, legitimate, good marketing firms, right? They're hired to make fake comments, so they're not going to pick a side. They're on the same side they're always on, their own side.
It's like a marketing firm, an honorable marketing firm is almost an oxymoron, right?
Right, but I mean, these were especially egregious, right? There are marketing firms out there that don't traffic in astroturfed comments on the FCC's website.
That's true.
I mean, they do real ads for real companies that are trying to sell you real products.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a whole lot to say there, but it's not surprising. And I think during the as this is going on, people were vaguely aware that the pro repeal net neutrality comments, that a lot of those were astroturf, but now we're finding out that both sides had astroturfed comments, and that it isn't clear that there was one side with more astroturfed comments than the other. All that really happened here is real people making comments got buried by these marketing firms, no matter what the real people were saying. So that's not great. And with the rise of these AI, these large language models, I don't think that stuff like this is going to get better.
No, it's not. Just going to get automatic, right?
Right now, it's going to be done automatically now, and at a rate that, like, oh my god, at a rate that you wouldn't even imagine. Like, it's going to be the next time something big happens like this, it's going to be real bad.
Yeah.
So, as is always the case, I cover Elon. I'm not even covering the fact that Elon hired a new CEO for Twitter. Who cares?
Oh, there was so much Elon news this week. I picked a good one though.
I picked the best one.
Good.
So the U.S. Virgin Islands has subpoenaed Elon Musk in a case revolving around whether or not J.P. Morgan Chase actually made money on the Epstein Island. We're kind of unsure what documents they're looking for, but they did subpoena documents from Elon Musk. Unsure if the documents related to Tesla or what they are. But it is interesting with all this talk about groomers on Twitter. I wonder what Elon's little fan club is going to say about all this. Elon is a known Jeffrey Epstein associate, having met with Jeff Epstein as late as 2018, well after we knew what was going on with Jeff Epstein. And one time, Elon's brother was set up with a girlfriend by Jeffrey Epstein. So not a great look for Elon Musk, as far as I'm concerned here.
But honestly, did you really think do you think he wouldn't be involved with this? Because it just seems like something Elon Musk would do.
Well, it's something that doesn't seem like it would be a deal breaker, right? I don't think that I don't think people went out of their way to, oh, I'm going to go get business advice from a child abuser, right? I don't think people were doing that, but I think in a lot of cases, and maybe we'll try to, a lot of tech people like Elon and Bill Gates were known associates. And I think that it wasn't a deal breaker because they thought they could make money off of it. I thought they could brush it under the rug, or they think, well, I'm so powerful, this isn't, it's just going to roll off me, or I can explain this away later. And in the case of Elon, well, considering like what's going on Twitter right now, it's interesting that this would come up as it has. Maybe this is nothing. Maybe they're going to ask for some document. It's going to turn out that whatever they're looking for has nothing to do with Elon, and we're not going to get more information. But maybe they're going to get some documents, and what's going on here does have something to do with Elon, and we're going to find out some interesting things about Elon Musk going forward. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the second, but it's probably the first because these people are all pretty good at covering their tracks.
Yeah, it's one of those things you kind of hope for the latter, that he did something, but at the same time, that means Elon has more victims, right?
Right. And and that means cool. That is a good point. It would mean that we're rooting for more victims, rooting for more people being hurt than we already know about or than have already come forward. But the flip side of that is if it did happen, then us rooting for it to come out, it has no bearing on what happened. Yeah.
If it happened, we're rooting for it to come out. But
yes. But
also rooting that nothing happened.
If I had my choice, I would choose that none of what this Epstein and his associates, that would choose that none of this ever happened. So, bit of a doom and gloom show this week from our side over here. I think the only story that even approached being kind of fun was the one about the fake comments about net neutrality. And that was just,
I don't know, the Google Drive adding the spam folder was kind of positive, even if it was talked about a less positive topic there.
And that was my favorite because I had no idea there was spam on Google Drive. I just must not use Google Drive in such a way that I'm exposed to it. Maybe I'm like a Google Drive.
But okay, whatever.
Maybe I'm like a Google Drive boomer and I don't know how to use it. Who knows? Well, Matt, I do believe it is now your turn to close out the show.
Yes, it is. And I got to bring up my notes, but yeah, thanks everybody for listening, watching if you're watching on YouTube, listening if you're watching through your podcast catchers of your choice. You can find out about all of the other Echoplex Media shows on echoplexmedia.com. Hopefully they'll have it up here at the bottom. And, you can see our live shows at twitch.tv/echoplexmedia. And of course, buy our awesome swag on eplex.store. Have a great Tekken week.